Using roots for cordage can be a super valuable asset for any bushcrafter or survivalist alike. So today we're going to talk about how do we harvest roots to make cordage. So root cordage is under our feet everywhere we go, literally. So one thing that I like about root cordage is that it seems it's a little bit easier for people to harvest, and it's very, very strong. And sometimes people have a hard time finding the proper materials, be it plant or inner bark of trees, to make 2-ply reverse wrap cordage. But most people don't have a hard time finding any type of evergreen tree. So spruce, white pine, they work fine. You're gonna hear a little bit more about spruce roots, but I've tried spruce roots and white pine, and they both worked out and they hold up just as well in my opinion. So I'm looking around for some type of evergreen tree, and I found some white pine, a nice stand of white pine. So I'm gonna get down, dig in, and show you guys how we actually extract the root and how we need to process that. So here's a root that I'm actually in the process of digging up, and how I go about this is you just start to dig down. I like to come out from the base of the tree about a foot and start there, because if you get in too close, you're dealing with the big main roots, where if you come out a little bit, you're dealing with this smaller stuff. So once you find that, you're basically going to just take your hand and be careful with it and dig it in one direction and then dig it back towards the tree, and you're going to expose this root. So you can keep on traveling with this until it ends, and then you can work it back towards the tree. And once you get it to the point where you're happy with it, just break it or cut it, and we'll go to the next step. One thing you're going to realize though is there's these very small little offshoots, and those things, what I like to do is get them and just they snap very freely. So that's how we're going to pull this out of the ground and get our initial root. So here's the root that we dug up, and I wanted to show you guys how I process this. Now there's numerous different ways to do this, but if it's coming straight out of the ground, this is what I like to do. It just seems to work best for me. I take the edge of my fingernail and I just break this root free, and you can see that inner material. And that's really what we want to get to, that outer material we want to take off. Now, what I will say is that I've used this outer material before on here, and I just use this as a quick lashing and it holds up fine, but the duration, it actually starts to rot or crack. So we really want to get that off if we can, especially if we're going to store this material. So I'm just going to work on down the line like this, pulling this, and you're going to get spots of this where you actually get in there and it's going to pull large sections off. So it takes a little bit of time, but not too much. So that's really what you want to get, is this inside. Get that outer material off and get down to that inside. So I'm going to sit and do that now and then show you what the next step would be. So now that I got all the outer material off of this, I have usable cordage. You can see it's really flexible. It works really well. But one thing that you can do, but if you don't have time to sit after you harvest all your roots, is to actually soak them in some water, and that'll soften up that outer bark. It comes off a little bit easier. Now this inner bark, if you're not going to use this right away, what I like to do is just twist this around on itself, and then you can store it just like this. It's going to dry out probably within a day, but to make this pliable again, just put it in some water, let it soak for a while, and you'll be right back to business. So there's a lot of uses for this stuff. It's very versatile in the sense that you can harvest this now, and it seems like May and June is about the best time to harvest this. It just works the best. I harvested it throughout different months and it worked fine, but May and June seem about the optimal time to actually dig this stuff up if you're going to dig a lot of it up. You can make baskets with this. You can use it for, I have a basket with me now. You can use it for lashings. It works great for that. I also used it on knife handles and just small tool repairs, things like that. So it's a very versatile thing, and you really need to think about using this a little bit. If you haven't, definitely go out and give it a try. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, check us out on all our social media and at coldcrackerbushcraft.com. And until the next video, stay in the woods and enjoy the outdoors, guys.